Hello and welcome to the first episode of A Dumb Aussie's Guide to Baseball, the Aussie lens on the great American pastime. I am Adam, I'm the Dumb Aussie, and I just wanted to welcome in for the first time my guests, Kevin Taro Lyon
Great to be here, Adam.
and Michael Disco Machine Mondragon.
Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Michael, I just wanted to start with you. Could you go into where you and Kevin sit in the baseball sphere as we sit here today?
Sure. I would say that we're lifelong baseball fans, both of us. And we came together because of professional wrestling. And we found we had a love for baseball. There's actually a lot of people in professional wrestling that love baseball. And Kevin and I started a endeavor. At first, it was called the Beer Baseball Blog. This was in 2016, so about 9 years ago. And we were going to baseball games and going to craft breweries. And we said, why don't we do this on YouTube? Why don't we go around and start documenting this? And we were going to so many games. I'm like, we're going to be doing this anyway. Why don't we put it out there? And then COVID hit, and we had to take it in-house. So we started a podcast, a weekly podcast in 2020. And what do we do, Kevin? Like 160 episodes? 160 weeks straight. Live. Yeah. So we
Live.
Yeah. So we started talking about craft beer and baseball. And the distinction is that we didn't talk about like macro beer, which is like Bud Light or, even like Foster's. I guess that would be like a macro beer.
Victoria's Bitter.
Now we're talking.
A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter.
So, and then we started talking about like little breweries, little microbreweries that were in Los Angeles, Orange County, San Francisco, San Diego. And it's we're still doing it today. We're kind of taking some time off to kind of retool and put out some more episodes. But yeah, if you go to our channel, it's if you look up Beer Baseball on YouTube, X, on Instagram, yeah, we're super active, and we love we say that we keep baseball history alive one craft beer at a time.
So Kevin, tell us a little bit more about your side of things with this podcast, and tell us a little bit about I guess Michael's led to it quite a bit, but the vibe and the mood of that type of podcast.
I met Michael, and we were friends in baseball, but after wrestling, we became way more friends, much closer friends post our wrestling careers. We're like, wait a minute, we love baseball and beer, and he started doing this, and I'm just gonna jump on. I'm like, you know what? I travel often. I love minor league baseball. I've traveled, God, I'd say almost around the world nowadays to do baseball-related things, on my travels, and just it's great to just document it, and just it helped make Michael one of my closest friends on this planet.
Well, I want to keep that good mates kind of vibe here, but I do want to make this somewhat educational, because I guess my story when it comes to baseball is pretty short at this point. I've been to America twice. First game was at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees against the Red Sox.
Wow.
And
What
to be honest,
year?
it was
May I ask you what year?
2016.
Okay. I was just wondering if it was old enough to where it's the old stadiums. It's the
It was
newer Yankee
No,
Stadium.
it was the new Yankee Stadium.
Got it. I wanted to ask.
Got to see I think it was A-Rod and Ortiz. It didn't really
Okay.
grab me, to be honest.
Okay.
I also went to the Angels and the Rangers at Angel Stadium on that trip, and I did enjoy the vibe at Angel Stadium a lot more. But and I saw it as a really enjoyable night out in both instances, but not something that I was going to follow again.
Okay.
Now, fast forward to 2024, visited America again, met you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Went to 2 games again, Angels and Braves at Angel Stadium. Had a really good time again. Got a little bit more into it enjoyed the vibe much more. Sat next to two blokes that I'd never met before, high-fiving them when I think it was O'Hoppy hit a home run,
Right on. There you
and
go.
had a
Talking about
great
Hoppy
time.
M.
Could not stop talking about it. Later on that trip, went to Dodger Stadium. Felt like I was in a really special place in terms of the stadium, and you could feel that
Mhm.
it was historic and something special was going on with the Dodgers, but not it didn't have that friendly, welcoming atmosphere. But I still had an awesome time. Went into extra
Mhm.
inning. Otani hit a home run, and that
Ooh,
was the
nice.
day after he'd reached his 50
Oh, wow.
50.
Oh, okay, okay.
So got a bit more of a taste for it. Now, fast forward to where we are now. Uh, I promise I won't make this too much of a sob story, but about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I lost my full time job. And the one thing that I could rely on, particularly on a weekday, was getting up, making a coffee, and there was almost always live baseball on ESPN. And I started to take a bit of an interest, started to enjoy it a bit more. But there's one problem. I know absolutely nothing about this sport. I don't know the rules. I don't know the people. I don't know the teams. So that's where I brought Kevin in, and I might lead to you, Kevin, and
Yes, sir.
just I was a little bit nervous about it, but but put at ease very quickly by your enthusiasm, and I just wanted to bring you in and if you don't mind bringing in Michael in turn and just telling you where we went from there.
But and something you bring up about people being nervous about baseball, Michael will tell you, we've been to games where people are there and there you don't seem interested or they're just there with other people. And just like, luckily they're sitting next to us. Michael, you can say the quote. Michael, what have you said to people who say, oh, baseball is boring? Michael, give me the quote,
So the
please.
quote that I say is, "You haven't watched baseball with us."
That's
Because,
right.
like, we will literally, sit in the stands and we will talk the whole game. And, we were sitting next to, one of our old co-hosts, Angelo, and his wife said to us, "You guys didn't watch the whole game. You guys were talking the whole time." I told her, "We knew everything that was going on during that whole game." And I think that's one of the beauties of baseball is that it kind of just has a rhythm to it. And when you get to our level of watching baseball, like you don't like we don't get like emotionally involved. Like a team could be down 8 runs and we're just like their bullpen sucks. They're going to be right back in the game by the end of the game. Whereas other people will be leaving and having emotional reactions to it. We're like, let it play out. Their bullpen is terrible.
Adam, I would say like a simple introduction that we would do, sir, that he would do. It's just great for someone who doesn't know baseball. It's a hey, just look out there, look at the players on both teams. It doesn't need to be on the home team. Doesn't mean it could be the visiting team. Doesn't matter which team. Find a player that'll interest you.
I did
You
that with
know,
somebody's wife. I
things
said,
like that.
like, she was really mad about like being at a Dodger game. And I said, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to I want you to look in the lineup. I want you to find the player that you want to follow. She goes, oh, I like Andre Ethier. I go, all right. So we're going to follow
Good
him.
pick.
He plays right field. He bats third in the lineup. And so every time he comes up, I want you to follow him. Oh, he grounded out. So he's 0 for 1. And then he's going to be on a defense now. Oh, he just caught a fly ball. So it's like it's kind of like understanding kind of where these players are, what they do, what their roles are, but just like making it kind of simplifying it. And if you look at it as a whole, it's intimidating, and it makes total sense.
Like Adam, like you've seen the game live for the first time. What what did you see that maybe made you feel uncomfortable or maybe confused? Was there something particular that made you go, "Ah, I don't know about this American baseball"?
I don't think there was anything like that because I brought a certain level of enthusiasm and happiness to be
Okay.
there.
Uh-huh.
But I was really intrigued by uh, even little things like so I sat in the outfield at Dodger Stadium, kind of sat
Okay.
behind Mookie Betts,
Right
who
on.
and here's a stupid question: if I'm
Yes,
sitting
sir.
with the I'm facing home plate, am I
Mhm.
sitting in left field or right field
You're-
You well,
if I come to
It's
this
oh,
side?
it sounds like right field.
Yep. Okay.
I'm like,
So
wait,
it's
doesn't Mookie play center? But I'm trying to figure out where you are. But you might be in
Yeah,
one of
he was
what they
probably
call the
playing right
power
field.
alleys.
Yeah.
yeah. It was last year, and he would have been in right field. And I noticed after each batter came out, he pulled a card out of his pocket and looked at it and kind of moved according to it. And I thought, well, hold on, there's a fair bit to this game, and I don't want to go into
Oh,
it right now because
I know what he's talking
this is
about.
part of the journey. And
Yes.
I know you guys do have some PWG links, but I don't want this to be a high spot fest. Let's just let things breathe, all right? So I'm gonna steer us back a little bit.
You're in wrestling. We'd say you're calling the
That's
match.
it. That's
So
Here we
call it.
go. Here we go. And I wouldn't say I'm the vet, but I will ask you before I go
Flat.
anywhere else, Kevin. How many pro matches did you have?
Uh oh, in wrestling. Okay,
Yep.
so Michael had way more than me. I would have had probably about not even 100, believe it or not. I probably about 70, 75 matches, and I refereed about another 50 or so.
Okay. So 75 matches worked as a wrestler. Michael, how many do you think you
I
had?
had probably over 400.
So 75, 400. So we've
Mhm.
got 476 pro matches between us.
Yay! Wait a
We'll,
minute. You
we'll
can't
go
just
in.
escape this.
We'll go into this another
Okay.
time, or I might
All
even
right.
drop a little video in as I edit this. But
Well, yeah, that's what's called a tease, brother. I like it.
100%. But I'll try and be the vet here, and I'll work us through the
Okay.
match.
Yeah, it's all right.
But I wanted to start really basic and really broad. So, Kevin, tell us what are your earliest childhood baseball memories?
So luckily, where I grew up in Orange County, California, I grew up about maybe about 10, 15-minute drive from Anaheim Stadium, as it's called then. Back in the 80s, early 80s, believe it or not, Angel Stadium, if you see it now, was not what it looks like. It was a circular stadium because the California Angels, they were called then, would play there in the spring, and the Los Angeles Rams would play football there in the fall. So it was a dual stadium. And so back then, I went to games starting in 1981 as I was 6 years old. And then went to some games, and the Angels were at a really, one of their absolute peaks of the franchise. Unfortunately, they didn't make the playoffs in 82. And then through my family, I mean, I'm freaking 7 or 8. Not that I'm in any way in part of making this happen. I was an Angels season ticket holder in 1983 and 1984, to where I was going to pretty much every single game, and where my mind was just baseball pretty much. From just going to games, watching everything, having to do my school homework at games, going downstairs, buying packs of cards, and literally like looking at cards in between like innings and just absorbing all this information, which Michael Mondrag will tell you I cannot get out of my head to this day. So, but it was an informative part of my childhood, much like how anybody, you know, if you're ingrained, if you have something that formative come to you at a young age, it's going to stick with you the rest of your life.
So, Michael, do you have a similar story or an earlier memory of baseball as a kid?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is, and we joke on the show that Kevin is like 200 years old, but I'm actually older than Kevin.
Only 200? Wait,
Only
only 200?
I'm being
Thank you. I'm
conservative,
so young.
but
Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
but I'm older than Kevin. But my background is I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, which I'm here now back again. But I lived half my life in Los Angeles. But when I was growing up in Phoenix, we didn't have a baseball team at that time. The Diamondbacks weren't here yet. They actually came the year that I left. Well, the year after '98, and so my formative years um, was following the St. Louis Cardinals, which my grandparents were from St. Louis, and in the early '80s, the Cardinals started getting really good, and they were actually great in the '80s. They were '82 World Champions. They were in '85. They lost to the Royals. They lost to the Twins in '87, and but they were always like really competitive and always on TV. That was another thing too. Watching baseball on TV, actually, if you were out of market, if you didn't have a team in your market, you got games on the weekends. So that was the only way, and sometimes Monday night baseball. But and then Kevin was saying that we actually grew up on baseball cards. So I loved collecting baseball cards. I have so many baseball card memories of players that I've never seen play. So it became like a collectible thing. And when we were growing up, it was like that was I have this Reggie card. That was a big deal because I saw Reggie play, But other players,
We're talking about
sorry,
Reggie
Reggie
Jackson,
Jackson.
Yeah.
just for the
Yeah, he was
people who
a,
don't know
a
who Reggie
big deal in
Jackson
the
is. I don't know if you
70s.
know who Reggie Jackson is.
Yeah, so
Yes.
when we were collecting cards, it became also part of my memory. And then Kevin and I will like reminisce about, oh, didn't Bert Hooton play for the Dodgers and this thing? It's like I don't know how we have this total recall when it comes to it, but like it wasn't from like watching sometimes because like the only time I would have seen Bert Hooton play in the '70s would have been in the World Series, and that would have been on national TV. So as we started like noticing, we were watching baseball like consistently, but we didn't know we were kind of absorbing it all. And I can tell you by
Yeah.
year, if you were to throw out a year in the '80s, I could tell you more about that decade in baseball than I could about my own life.
Yeah, because Adam, what you have to realize is cable didn't come to prominence until maybe the mid '80s. ESPN did not carry baseball until either 1988 or
Yeah.
1989. So where I lived in LA, I don't I know Channel 11, which now is the Fox affiliate, they pretty much carry every single Dodgers game on TV. And I think the vast majority of the Angel games will be on TV too on Channel 5 here locally. But even if you can't know that, you have radio.
Radio is
Radio would
huge.
have every single Angels game, every single Dodgers game. Like one of the most revered broadcasters in baseball is a gentleman named Vince Scully, who literally called baseball, Dodger baseball, from the early 1950s until around 2021,
Yeah.
Michael,
Yeah.
something like that. He literally is about like 20 years old or something like that, and he just happened to just be there and step in to help out with a broadcast. And he did Dodger games for like 70 years. It's
Yeah.
insane.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
He also like succeeded a Hall of Fame broadcaster named Red Barber, which was that
Right.
was a big deal at the
Exactly.
time. And I'm glad you brought up radio because so I lived about 400 miles from Los Angeles, and we didn't get
Mhm.
any Dodger. Well, we got Dodger in market baseball when it was here, but I used to listen
Okay.
to Ben Scully on the radio. That's how I grew up listening to him and Dodger games. So radio was huge
Right.
in the '70s and '80s.
Yeah, that's why I just want to paint a picture, Adam, because it's just like baseball was very different for any fan going up in the 70s and 80s before cable because where Michael was he could see a game a
Yep.
weekend on national broadcast because we pretty much just had the three national channels back then, which would be CBS, NBC, and ABC. And if you were to mention, ABC had Monday Night Baseball for a while. Everyone knows Monday Night Football, but there was a Monday Night Baseball
Yeah.
for a while.
I would like to go into the coverage of baseball, comparing then to now at some point down the track. I'm already hearing, and this is music to my ears, real romance about the sport. It is, and I know it's called the Great American Pastime. Kevin,
Yes,
is
sir.
it a sport that elicits more of a romantic response than any other American sport?
You know what? For my lifetime, yes. Unfortunately, in this generation, probably not. Like, the National Football League, NFL, has blown up so much over, I want to say almost more in the last 15 years than anything else. Basketball is ahead of baseball too, I believe. And I think that all started with Michael Jordan. I want to say in the 80s, NBA, NBA used to be almost an afterthought. And then starting, I don't know how much of a basketball fan you are, but the Lakers gained a prominence, and Lakers stuff was a big thing in the 80s. But Michael Jordan then made basketball go to like an exponential level. I mean, come on. You know Space Jam, right?
Of course, of course.
Of course. See, like Space Jam was like huge film in the 90s. And it's literally about Michael Jordan quit basketball and he's playing baseball. And it's like, how do we get back in basketball? And it's through like a cartoon, you know what I mean?
And I am a big basketball fan.
Uh-huh.
Not so much anymore, but
Okay.
during the late 80s and early 90s, it boomed worldwide thanks to Michael
Right.
Jordan, but Australia was
Mm-hmm.
no different. Michael Jordan was massive. We got the
Yes.
back end of the Showtime Lakers and the Celtics and
Mm-hmm.
the
Yes, sir.
Detroit Pistons,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, 90 to 2000 was massive. We all collected basketball cards,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah,
then we
basketball was built around then, yes, for sure, in the early 90s.
fast forward to now, where the NBA kind of lulled, and now it's big again.
Mm-hmm.
But NFL is massive in Australia,
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
the
NFL might be the number one. I think NFL is number one in America these days. There was always the Super Bowls. Everyone wants to hang out and that's been a thing. The Super Bowl, oh, it's a big get together for people. But now I'm like, now just NFL seems to just be a bigger sport, and I think it's simply because it's once a week for the
Yeah.
17, 18 weeks, whatever it
College
is in the
football
regular
as well.
season. Yes, absolutely.
and I've noticed that those are becoming massive over here, but baseball never really took off here.
Okay.
But what I was going to, in terms of that, following up from that question about romance, I just
Mhm.
wanted to know, and through this series, I'm going to compare baseball a lot to my native sports, so predominantly Australian rules football and
Yes.
cricket. Now, in Australian rules football, it's very tribal, and I
Mhm.
just wanted to know what plays a bigger part in baseball, where you live or who your family supported. Michael.
Oh, I would say it's definitely
Oh.
regional. Um,
But wait a minute, Michael. You said you're a Cardinals fan. That's because your grandparents who lived in
yeah,
St.
but that was
Louis.
only because like I could have followed the Dodgers, but I had no affiliation to them,
Yeah.
right? And so you're right.
There you
It
go.
is a bit of the family, but my none of my family followed the Cardinals. My mom didn't know anything about the Cardinals. So I literally just grasped at straws. I'm like, okay, I'll follow the Cardinals.
I,
So
that's why I want to ask because I thought you meant you because your grandparents St. Louis. I was just curious if that was the connection.
I had no affiliation to Los Angeles because I didn't live there. The closest team would have maybe been Seattle or not, like Oakland or San Diego. My
Was San Diego been your
My
closest
uncle
team?
follows San
Yeah.
Diego, but it wasn't a big deal. But you're right. I think ultimately regional for a lot of people because, and I'll say this because I know this for St. Louis. St. Louis
Mhm.
actually had a big reach. The same way we're talking about radio, the radio network actually went to like Oklahoma, Iowa, parts of Illinois, parts of Arkansas. They also had minor league affiliates in different cities as well. So the Cardinals are a storied franchise. So they had a bigger reach, and a long history. But the radio network is what a lot of like people from Iowa who didn't have a team either, they would listen to the games as well. So that's was happening to me.
I gotta say too, it's the same thing for the Cubs
Yes.
though. The Cubs are in Chicago, and there's people who love the Cubs who are from Iowa and all these suburban states, like even going down to
Yep.
Tennessee. Tennessee is a huge state that has no professional baseball team except for minor league, And there's people out there who have been Cubs fans their entire lives because that's the only team they can get on the
Yep.
radio. Like, it's kinda crazy when you think about that
Yeah.
connection, because it'd be for someone in Tennessee, it'd be the Braves in Atlanta, which could be 3 hours away from or 7 or 8 hours away from where you are in Tennessee. It's the same thing with St. Louis
Yeah.
or Chicago. It's gonna depend, if they're that's definitely where you say Regency comes in. It's gonna be might be what is the closest you're exposed to.
We've already hit our first of what will be many differences because I feel like Australian rules football, you're born into a team.
Mm.
Yep.
I live in Sydney, so I
Mhm.
live a 10-hour drive away from Geelong,
Yeah.
but my father, my grandfather, and everyone, granted, it may have started regionally because I, much like the rest of my family, was born in Geelong, but
Mhm.
my son wasn't even born in Australia, and he's a Geelong supporter,
Oh,
and he didn't have a choice.
right.
So, and that's something very, very common with Australian rules football. You support who your parents supported.
If you don't like the Cats, puppy, you're out of the family.
So it's not, and when mum and dad support different teams, it's not the question from a Victorian in particular, which is the area where Australian rules football is the most fanatical and most popular. One state has 10 different teams, and the other 8 are spread across the rest of Australia. So
Right.
in Victoria, the question is not um, it's not necessarily about where you live, but it's which are you going to take mum or dad's team? And if you take another
The
team,
mom thing is amazing. The mom being
Yeah.
added into that. I'm like, that's something I could never imagine being with
That's
American
very odd
sports.
here. Yes.
really, so to me that seems a real cultural anomaly.
Yeah.
I'm dare I even say sexist because
Yeah.
I feel like the following of most sports in Australia, particularly Australian rules football, is almost 50-50, even to the point where there's a Perth team, the Fremantle Dockers, who at one point had more female members than
Wow.
males. So, it,
Wow.
uh, as a cultural difference, is even sports supporting a male domain, Kevin?
I think the sport I see most women into is probably football. But I'll tell you a real like a more smaller niche is that the sport that if women are into sports, the sport they like the most, are you ready for this? Is hockey.
Okay.
I've seen some women who like that is their sport. I've seen many women I met who love hockey a
Yes.
lot. I don't see the passion as much for for other sports as much, but I mean, we have the WNBA, which is doing better by that, probably maybe even better than it ever has been because of in recent years we've had, Caitlin Clark and other athletes who have transcended the God, I hate to say that, like, oh, the WNBA limit on popularity, because there's definitely a stigma with that in sports. Because women's sports, as much as I say, it's only hit a certain plateau in America. You know, that's just what it's always been in America. And I don't know if it's like that in the rest of the world, but I'm like, there is potential with that. And but I don't really see going back to baseball. I don't know how there's not definitely a passion for women as much in baseball as in other sports I
Yeah,
see in
and
America. Is that the best way I could
yeah,
say it,
we've
Michael?
met many women who are super passionate about baseball, but it's super
Yeah,
rare. And when
yeah.
they're fanatical, they're very fanatical. But in other sports, women are much more into it. And quite frankly, baseball doesn't market to women. I don't feel so. You were talking about regional. We were talking about who the family part of it. But I also know that Luke Longley played for in the NBA. So,
Sure.
and I lived in a city that had college baseball, Arizona State University, which actually had the very first baseball that was drafted in the 60s in the MLB draft. Barry Bonds came out of
Rick Monday.
yeah, Rick Monday. And then Barry Bonds
Sorry.
was out of Arizona State University. Um, uh, Dustin Pedroia, other players came through this.
Reggie
Reggie
Jackson.
Jackson was also from Arizona
You
State.
mentioned Reggie
So
earlier. That's why I just threw it out there.
do and now Shohei Otani has definitely obviously influenced the Japanese interest in baseball. There's a lot of other Japanese players in baseball, but does that affect who you follow as well?
I think from an Australian perspective, and Luke Longley's a really good example because I mean he was the first Aussie to get drafted. He was the
Mm-hmm.
first to be a regular on a roster. Um, funnily enough, he's still not. I don't think he's considered Australia's best ever player.
Interesting.
There's a
Oh,
there's a bloke by the name of Andrew Gaze who he played for the Bullets around
The
93,
bullet.
you
94.
can't say the Bullets, sir.
Wow.
You can't say the Bullets. Oh my God, we're canceled. You can't say the Bullets.
Well, they weren't the Wizards at
Yeah,
that
they're not
point.
the Wizards.
He he played on a couple of 10-day contracts. He around 99, 2000 when the Spurs won it, he didn't make the playoff roster, but was still given a ring.
Wow.
And
Right
going
on.
back a little bit, he played in the Final Four with Seton Hall.
No kidding.
Oh, woo.
He,
Oh,
but
wow.
he's considered by some to be Australia's greatest basketballer because he played for Australia at 5 Olympic Games. And
Ah,
outside of, I think he might be eclipsed now, but he sat for a long time as the second highest international scorer behind Oscar Schmidt.
Wow.
okay.
But that's a sidetrack and one of many that I'm sure we'll have over
Well,
this
we'll
time.
have.
But the cultural comparison's great. Luke Longley, he heightened interest. So
Mhm.
you went from no one knowing who the Minnesota Timberwolves were to him
Yes.
getting drafted, and all of a sudden, if he plays a role, then that might make the tail end of the sports news.
Mhm.
There's more interest in the NBA as a result, which was
Yeah.
rising at the time anyway.
Right.
What I don't think it increased the following in the Timberwolves in a big way.
No.
People still wanted to support the Bulls because,
Mhm.
and at that time, I can, without knowing figures, I can guarantee you the best-selling NBA singlet was the Chicago 23.
Oh, of
And
course.
back then we were so bereft of options, you couldn't even get one that said Jordan. All the
Yes.
NBA singlets had the team name on the back. So it said Chicago 23.
Wow.
But
Come
but
on, NBA. They could have made a killing down there.
well, Spalding
Damn.
made them at a time when Champion made those beautiful print on singlets that were all romantic and nostalgic about. But we got the raw end of the pineapple, and we only got these ones with the sewn on, and the numbers clinked when they hit each other when you put it on. They were scratchy as hell. But anyway, it wasn't until he joined the Bulls that people really got behind the
Yeah.
Bulls. Well,
Yes.
no, sorry, that people really got behind his team.
Right.
So it
That makes
was
sense.
people still wanted to follow the Bulls and the Lakers,
Mm.
but yeah,
But it's a great convenience that all of a sudden, like, oh, our Australian players on the best team in basketball.
100%, 100%. But
Absolutely.
it did reinforce the Aussie support for the Bulls.
Right.
When after that third championship and everything disintegrated, well, people were back to kind of, and that's about the time that basketball started to dip a bit in popularity up
Yeah, that
until
totally understand. I
up
totally
up
understand him.
yeah, up until, maybe 10 or 15 years ago when it's come back up again.
Right.
Probably around the, LeBron and the back end
Mhm.
of Kobe Bryant's career.
Right. That totally adds up.
But and that's great because that's, yeah, we'll start to make these comparisons. But what I will say,
Yes, sir.
there were around that same time there were some Aussies playing in the major league. Dave Nelson
Yep. I remember Dave Nelson. Yes, absolutely.
and Graham Lloyd.
Oh yeah, Graham Lloyd.
So
Yes, definitely remember Graham Lloyd. But the spellings, I'm like, that's spelled differently. It's GRAEME.
yeah, that's
I
Yeah.
think
pretty common for Australia.
and
That's
us were like
Yeah.
Graham. We're like a
Yeah.
graham cracker.
Or Alexander Graham
GRAHAM.
Bell.
I'm like,
yeah.
there you go.
So,
There you go.
and what I would say is, in a similar vein, Nelson, at the peak of his powers, we were still getting the odd highlight. Like, I remember as a kid seeing him make the news for hitting a grand slam,
Mhm.
but people weren't all of a sudden wearing Brewers hats.
Right.
Lloyd won a World Series with the Yankees.
Yeah.
It was news, but it wasn't all of a sudden the start of a big following for the Yankees in Australia. That said, even to this day, you go to the shops and at best there's a Yankees, a Red Sox, and a Dodgers hat
Makes
available, but you really need to get down to the specialty shops to get anything
Yeah.
less.
Gotcha. So would you say those are probably the three most known teams to any
Oh,
random Australian?
100%,
Okay.
100%, and
Okay.
it's not even close in terms of the others.
Okay.
Uh, what I would say, and this is going to lead us into later episodes, is I'm considering myself a clean slate, and I'm going to go on a mission to find myself a
Ooh.
team because there's no family link, there's no regional link. So I'm going to try and have a super fan or a notable fan from each of the 30 MLB teams try and convince me. And from there, I'll try and make up my mind based on that and my previous experience as well. So that's something to look forward to through this series.
Love it.
Cool.
I'm going to finish up with a really broad question to both of you. I'll start with you, Michael. I've expressed an interest in baseball, and you may refer back to what we've already discussed, but why should I love baseball?
Okay. So this answer has changed through my life. There used to be a time where I lived and died with every game, every pitch. If my team was like under 500, it would stress me out. I have a friend who follows football, and in football, it's even worse. Where it's like he was literally on suicide watch every week. Oh my God, my team just lost in preseason.
Well, because he's
Well,
Arizona Cardinals
that's a whole
fan.
different issue. So as I've grown older and appreciated baseball, baseball to me is my sauna. I can literally go to any baseball game anywhere. Could be little league, could be high school, could be college, independent, minor league, major league. and enjoy myself. And when I surround myself with other like-minded people like Kevin, I also have people here that I played baseball with in high school. We can literally sit there, watch a game, enjoy ourselves for 2 or 3 hours, walk away, and it's the greatest thing ever. There's people that actually have more invested in the game, and I get that.
Wait.
And through our podcast, someone asked me recently, like, what's my favorite team? And now I grew up, I have a Stan Musial shirt right here, one of the greatest national leaguers of all time. But
Dude, one of the
one of the
greatest
greatest
players of
players of
all
all time,
time. Don't even say
period.
national leaguers.
But I tell people that every team is my team. And that is the one of the greatest things. So if we us three were to go to a baseball game, we would have the time of our lives. And you can't say that about a lot of things in life. So that's what I will say about baseball. Baseball has become my sanctuary. It's also become my repository for great memories. I have bad memories too. I remember how all of my teams lost, but I don't take them personally anymore. And I think that that's one of the things that I love about baseball is that I can get excited about watching like a player make his major league debut as I can go on YouTube and watch an old game. I think that's the greatest thing that I can tell you, that it's one of those rare opportunities in life where you can just relax, everything plays out. It's like watching human chess. And I used to say that about wrestling, but wrestling is so upside down like recently, and not recently as well. But baseball is one of those great things where, like, Kevin just saw it in Alaska. He went to Japan. Like, we can do this around the world and create memories. And that's what baseball is all about.
So what say you, Kevin? Why do you love baseball? Although that answer is going to be bloody hard to top.
I'm not at Michael Mondragon's level of zen yet on baseball. I'm working on it. But that's why, like, this year, I went to this game right here. This is a game in Alaska that has been going on since for 120 years. They literally play a game in Fairbanks, Alaska, at 10 o'clock at night where they don't turn the lights on at the stadium because it's north enough to where the sun is out and they can just play a ball game. Although there was some overcast that game, so I felt bad for those players because they could not see a fly ball. But regardless, those are the kind of the baseball experience I'm trying to find for myself to where I can just. I love baseball, no matter the setting, whatever, what it is. And it finds a good, just I can just find something to appreciate about any aspect of it, no matter what it is, and just Michael. I mean, God, how am I supposed to tell you? I feel like I'm just repeating what you're saying, but it's just, but Michael and I have been watching baseball for the majority of our lives. So we're on a different level than your average person to come in on this. And that's why we hope to teach you, Adam, that we're like, hey, look for this. We hope to teach you, like, hey, if you're watching a game, oh, look at this situation. Let's watch this batter. We want to see him do this. We want to see him do that. But at the same time, you want to see the pitcher going. The pitcher is looking at a situation. What's he gonna do? And that's why we say baseball is like a human chess game. And we hope that you and we get other people that baseball is not a boring 3-hour game that
Oh
we have to put a
no.
clock on everything. That's not what it is. We could teach you that there is a huge chess element to it, and that people complain about how long baseball is. Football is a 3-hour game with a halftime in the middle.
And 20
All
minutes of
right.
action.
Basketball is a 2.5-hour game with 6 timeouts in the
Yep.
last 2 minutes. All right. Relax.
Now he got angry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get angry. But I'm just saying, in comparison to the sports, there's plenty to view
Yep.
and appreciate.
Well, you did say you're on the path to Zen. You haven't quite reached that yet. So we
I'm
saw
not
we
Michael's
saw it
level
kind
yet.
of
I'm working
rise.
on it.
And I'm going to admit, I'm as a sports fan, I
Yes.
can't necessarily be that calm, collected, relaxed observer.
Mhm.
I'm recording this today slightly by design.
Mhm.
We're on and this might date the release of this, but we're recording this on about 6 hours away from Geelong's first round
Oh.
finals game.
Oh no. You
If
got a
we
big game.
if we recorded this tomorrow morning, I'd either be 0 or 100.
Yeah.
So no matter what,
I feel it. I feel it. I feel what you're saying right now because I've been there. I mean, I've
so
been there.
no matter what team I end up following, I can't help but bring some emotion to it.
So can I
Yes.
can I can I
So
ask what that emotion is? Like, is it like if you lose, is there something that you lose like mentally or physically or like what like or spiritually or like what is it that you lose if they lose?
all of the above.
Odd.
So watching a football game is a
Okay.
journey. There's the nerves going into it.
Yeah.
There's the tension whilst watching it, and then there's the joy or disappointment at the end of it.
There you go. And that's the same for any sport. And the only other context that Adam might have that's different from us is like, how is Geelong? How is Geelong? I'm sorry, Geelong. How are they in the history of footy?
Better than average. So
Okay.
the most premierships, we call them premierships or we call them
Yes.
flags.
Right.
So they actually get given a flag that they
Uh-huh.
can fly
Okay.
at home games. So
Gotcha.
we've won 10 flags.
That's good.
Okay.
We've been there. We've been there 100 and coming up to 130 years. So we were there from the start of the
Got it.
competition.
I'm like, wow, it's even
Yeah.
longer than MLB at
Yeah,
this point.
well, we've got a
MLB
constant
is
history.
similar. Yeah.
We've got a constant history. So which incorporates other states as we go along. But
Of
because we're a
course.
Victorian team, we were there
Right.
from inception.
Wow.
So 128 years to be
Wow.
exact in the competition. We've won 10 premierships. Two teams sit with the most on 16.
Mhm.
One team that's been there from inception, St Kilda, has won one.
Wow.
And then one team that's been there for 30 years has won zero.
But I'm willing to bet you those fans are the most hardcore fans for those teams.
Oh, I think it's
At least by American history, I could see that.
the two most recent expansion teams. I don't think there's any doubt that they're on the lower end of the passion because they're in non-footballing states. So that's the crazy thing. What state you live in may depend on which football code you follow.
Oh, okay.
So Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia, Tasmania,
Uh,
Northern Territory is
uh,
all rabid Australian rules football.
okay.
Queensland, New South Wales traditionally has been more rugby league,
Oh, okay.
but each team from a traditional football background can all lay claim to having some quirk
Got-
about the passion of their supporters. Those two expansion teams, about 15 years old, neither of them have won a flag,
Okay.
and one of them tomorrow is going to play their first final.
Oh,
That's a big
wow. So
deal.
that's going to be good for
Okay.
that.
So
Because that will remind me of like, I, I mean, what the most recent expansions in baseball is that the Rays and
Um,
Diamondbacks, Michael?
uh, Rays.
I don't, and Diamondbacks,
Think
right?
so.
Yeah, because I mean, Backs won a World Series a few years in, but it'd be like one of
And the
those
Rays have been there
teams.
twice,
'Cause
but they haven't won.
yeah,
And then there's two
right.
teams that haven't been
I
there
feel
at
like
all. The Brewers have been there
exactly
once. The Mariners, Padres. Padres been there.
never.
They haven't won it.
Yeah, Mariners
Yeah.
made a World Series, and
Yeah, so
they
this is a
might.
big deal.
There's probably no.
And we're probably going to start to talk more about our cultural comparisons, because to us, you win the flag or you fail. There's no
Oh.
celebration of runners up. There's no
Oh, interesting.
celebration. There's no conferences
Oh.
and there's no divisions. So there's no, and even if there was, I don't feel like there'd be the same celebration that there is in
Right.
America. There's
Mm.
no celebration of a winning season.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, one team missed out on the AFL finals this year that other years would have been a good enough winning record to get them second or third
Oh.
in the overall standings.
Mhm.
But because they missed the finals, failure.
Oh,
That definitely happens. That definitely happens in MLB and every other major league
yeah.
sport in America
And
for sure. Because you have a team who will do great in the regular season.
oh,
Actually, Michael, I have the
yes,
best example. The
that's
2001
right.
Seattle Mariners. They had maybe the best record ever in the
Yep.
regular season. In 162 games, Adam, the Mariners won like 114.
Crazy
Something like
number.
it might be
Crazy number.
113. Like they went like 113 and like 48, something like that. And then they lost in the playoffs to the Yankees. So what does that mean? Nothing.
Yeah,
Means
they were
absolutely nothing.
116 and 46.
Oh gosh, that's insane. That is still, by the way, I think the best
Yep.
record in the Major
And they
League
didn't make it
Baseball
out of
season,
the
right?
first round of the playoffs.
They lost to the Yankees, right?
The eventual World Series runners up. Yeah,
Runner
and
up.
then that was
Yeah.
also during 9/11, a big national
9/11.
tragedy here.
The 9/11
But everybody had
attack
a
in
lot of
America.
sympathy
So
for the Yankees, but it didn't happen.
the only time America had sympathy for the New York
Yeah,
Yankees as a
it's
whole. Let me
very
just say that
true.
right now. And they still lost the World
Yep.
Series to the Diamondbacks. Good job,
And
Michael
also,
Mondragon, being Mr.
so
Arizona.
I love that you do not celebrate second place. So there's teams now that put up a pennant in their stadium if they've made the wild card, which is literally
Woo!
just good enough to play into the playoffs.
Make the playoffs.
So that's
Yeah.
funny. Like there's a lot of that in baseball now. It's like the participation trophy.
Yeah, well, there's talk about wildcard being introduced into the AFL, and
Oh no.
there's there's a certain train of thought that, and it's Seppo bull. So Seppo is a Cockney rhyming slang term for an
Okay.
American,
Okay.
dating back.
Excuse me.
That's what I call Kevin all the time.
Okay. I'm
da-
gonna call you a Secco.
a Seppo.
Seppos.
It's short for Seppo.
Michael, you Seppo. So you know what? Michael's my friend. I've
call you
been many of the
Zeppo.
friends I'm gonna call Seppo.
Eh,
Oh, like
There you
Zeppo Marks. I got you.
So it's a shortening of septic tank,
Oh my God.
and
Those dirty Americans. I love it.
well, not. It's not a comparison. It's pure rhyming. So septic tanks rhymes with Yanks, and other countries. And I know this. I know there's a lot more cultural levels, but in other countries, Australia is a good example, and I think in the UK as well. Any American is called a Yank.
Of course. Of course.
I know that wouldn't sit that well with people in the South, in particular.
Oh no.
But yeah. So
Like in California, we're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, are you
We're just
Yank?
like, okay.
But-
we'd be pissed because then we'd think like, the Yankees are New York. Like
Yeah.
everything's Yankee would be like New York Yankee in
It goes
baseball
deeper, right.
nowadays. You know what I mean? That's
But,
definitely the national connotation nowadays. Like Yankee, that's the New York Yankees, that
Yeah.
baseball team.
but a lot of things in Australia, if it's
course.
seen as copying America, will be
Mm.
passed off as, oh, that's just Seppo bull. And I might bleep that out because we're going to
I
keep.
love it.
We're gonna keep
I
this.
can't wait to use that
But-
in my regular life.
We're going to.
You know why it
we're gonna
is?
keep
You
this
know why it
train.
is, right? You know why they want to do
Go
it,
on.
right? Money. If more teams make the playoffs, more interest. That's the only
course.
reason why it is.
Absolutely.
That's why
That's why
baseball
baseball
was doing
baseball
that.
now
Oh,
has
that's-
4 teams in the
and
wild
that's-
card.
Mm.
And that's why there's no designated hitter anymore. That's why everyone plays each other in baseball nowadays.
No, not designated
I'm
hitter. They have pitchers, but they have designated hitters.
Well, no, I'm sorry. What I meant was like designated hitter is now just a thing in the entire league.
More
Everyone plays
offense,
every year, and it's
yeah.
because of money.
Yeah.
It's money. That's all.
Well, yeah, the DH thing I'm going to go
I
into
love
on
it.
another
I
episode.
love it.
So,
Yeah,
Love it.
sorry.
so
I can't wait to talk about the DH.
and they're flicking it in Japan as well.
Yes.
So,
Yep. They're getting rid of it next year. Yeah.
but
Unfortunately.
yeah. So look, I think I look forward to this journey. I look forward to you guys being the great sages that help me out on this journey. Hopefully we have fun. Hopefully a lot of other people, particularly non-Americans, come along
Yeah.
with us for the journey because we want it to be safe, we want it to be fun, and there's no dumb questions, just a dumb Aussie.
Exactly.
And
And hey, if anyone has any baseball questions, it doesn't matter what the level
Yeah.
of it is, send it in
Yeah,
and we
I'd
can
love
help
to
you
answer
answer
some
your
questions.
questions.
yeah, I think that'd be great. So let that be a prompt to all of you that are watching or listening. Reach out on our socials, and your question will come up in an upcoming episode. So I think we'll hopefully this is a pretty good taster, good teaser, and I look forward to spending this journey with all of the viewers, the listeners, and particularly with you two.
Love it. Love it. Definitely follow Beer Baseball on Instagram. That's what I'll put out there. And that's where all of our exploits are. We're also on YouTube at Beer Baseball as well.
He said what we're all up to, but if you want to see what I'm up to, just look me up at Lock and Low, LOKNOLL on Instagram, and yeah, I guess the Twitter. I'm sorry, the X.
Excellent. Well, I'll speak to one of you or both of you next week.
Love it. Thank you for having us.